to be looking at that ice storm that will be affecting Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Arkansas, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia, Maryland, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. First, we're going to be headed into Central Texas, San Angelo, where they have a winter storm warning. So they're expecting 4 to 10 inches of snow. 4 to 10 inches west is what they're expecting west of San Angelo, Abilene. So these areas: Hamlin, Sweetwater, Sterling City. So higher amounts, 10 inches. Crockett, Irion, Sterling counties possible. So I'm assuming this is Sterling County. And 4 to 7 inches are possible west of Ozona to San Angelo to Abilene. So these areas like Hamlin, Sweetwater, Barnhart, they're going to be seeing 4 to 7 inches of snow. I don't know exactly which counties are which because this is a different state. But these red areas here on this little threat risk map, that is significant threat for in the red, and then the orange areas are elevated threat. So they're not expecting, in this area, they are expecting a little bit of ice, but for them, it's mostly a snow threat. Now we're going to look at somewhere on the other side of the system. So that is Pennsylvania, Ohio, Northwest Virginia. There is an ice storm in this region into parts of Maryland. So I'm going to be looking at right in between Morgantown, West Virginia, and Hancock, Maryland. There are some ice storm warnings, mostly in West Virginia and Maryland. So these ones showed up before the ones in Illinois because I checked earlier. And we're going to look at their forecast ice totals and see what that says. So, looks like in these yellow areas, I'm not sure if this has been updated that much. I might be in the I'm in the wrong area. Because this area seems to be expecting 1/10 of an inch or less in these yellow areas. Not even 1/10 of an inch. So, not sure if this is the right areas. Just going to look at yeah, this looks like the right spot. So, looks like there are some other ice storm warnings along this river here. Or mountains. Yeah, those are mountains. That's not a river. But anyway, 1/4 inch or more is what is expected when you have an ice storm warning. So, yeah, it doesn't look like they have an actual map. Unless they got that right there. So these ice storm warnings are significant icing. Well, yes, of course, less than an inch, but still. Oh, yep. Yeah, up to 1/4 of an inch in Friendsville, Oakland. Up to 1/2 an inch in Kaiser. Cumberland could be seeing 1/4 of an inch possible. But Charlottesville, Baltimore, Annapolis aren't going to be really seeing any ice. They don't really need to worry about a whole lot unless they're traveling to the northeast. Staunton, Harrisonburg, could be seeing Harrisonburg, Luray are expecting Hagerstown are expecting to see less than 1/10 of an inch. So main problems: Kaiser, Cumberland, Friendsville, Oakland, Monterey, and Franklin. Staunton, Martinsburg, and Winchester. Those are the main regions, especially if you are in the red. Next, we're going to look at our next ice storm warning that we have in central Illinois. So, yeah, that is for Pontiac, Bloomington, Peoria, Canton, Havana, Jacksonville, Springfield, and Lincoln. So, and then Quincy, there's a warning, but then these other areas, they're expecting some good icing, but mainly these areas are going to get the most, over a quarter of an inch. So we're going to look at their map. It might show a few more impressive totals in this. So an ice storm warning, 10th to 4/10 inch. So if you're talking about getting up to 4/10 of an inch of ice, that's a lot. That's almost a half an inch. So look at that. 1/4 to 4/10 of an inch, Bloomington, Pontiac. Champaign could be seeing between 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. I wouldn't be surprised if Champaign ended up getting over a 1/4 of an inch, though, since they're right along there. Springfield, again, ice storm warning, could be getting up to a 1/4 of an inch. Chicago is expecting less than 1/10 of an inch, but as little as 1/16 of an inch can cause travel difficulties on roads. Next, we're going to be headed into another region. Might not see as much ice as Illinois or some areas of Maryland and West Virginia, but still seeing lots of ice is northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and southwest Michigan. So you've got winter weather advisories everywhere in this region, but I'm going to look at these maps that we have. So high chance of travel impacts: Fort Wayne, Warsaw, Metairie, Plymouth, South Bend area, Goshen, Three Rivers, Coldwater, and Hillsdale. Medium chance: Bluffton, Wabash, Logansport, Brookston, Portland, Marion, Van Wert, Lima, Ottawa, Defiance, Wauseon. And then these yellow areas, they're kind of a lower chance. They might not see a whole lot of ice. It's possible they could get like 1/100th of an inch of ice in some of these areas, but not really. They're not going to have as much of travel difficulties as the red regions. It's going to start, it looks like, in the southern region 6 to 9 a.m. tomorrow, New Year's Day 2021. 8 to 11 a.m. in these central regions, and then the northern regions 10 to 1 p.m. So, we've probably got a map here about how much. I know I was looking here earlier, and there was definitely a map. Yep, latest situation report. So yeah, still, as this is the same as the last video, 1/10 of an inch, 0.15 inch, Hillsdale, Angola, Goshen, South Bend. Almost 2/10 of an inch or over 2/10 of an inch in Metairie, Rochester, Warsaw, Plymouth, Logansport, Marion, Wabash, Fort Wayne, and Bluffton. Then Benton Harbor is not really expecting travel difficulties. If you get outside of the town there, you could see some minor ice accumulations, but really the worst of it's going to be in those areas with over 1/10 of an inch up to almost a 1/4 of an inch. I wouldn't be surprised to see 1/4 of an inch of ice in some isolated areas here, but that's not that likely. If we don't end up covering your region in the video, you can watch my last video on the channel. Major upcoming snow and ice storm update. Next, we're going to check this area of northern Missouri. around where Kansas City is. I have been covering this area a lot because they're expected to get hit hard as well. So, if you really go south of St. Joseph, Trenton, Topeka, if you go southeast of those areas, you're going to be seeing those winter storm warnings for Columbia, Jefferson City, Warrensville, Kansas City, Olaf, just to name a few, Chillicothe. So we're gonna look at their expected snowfall. Kind of surprised, because I think ice storms are higher up on the priority list to get out to people than winter storm warnings. So if they're expecting up to a half an inch of ice in Moberly, Sedalia, some of these counties highlighted mostly in red, I would expect them to very soon be put into ice storm warnings, because still up to a quarter of an inch is possible. Columbia, Jefferson, Butler, and then up to a tenth of an inch, just southeast of Chillicothe, Kirksville, Kansas City, Ottawa, and Emporia. But then these areas that are getting less ice are expected to get more snow. Up to an inch of snow here, so that's just mostly dusting. This strip of land could see 1 to 2 inches, but southeastern Kansas City, Chillicothe, Kirksville, and just south of Maryville are all expecting to see 2 to 3 inches of snow, 3 to 4 in most of Kansas City, St. Joseph, and then 4 to 6 inches in Topeka and Emporia and Ottawa. So, those are the places that are expected to see the most snow. Yes, it does. It does look like the ice storm warning is above the winter storm warning. But now we're going to go on to the severe weather region. We're going to check this one area with a tornado watch in southern Louisiana. So there is a slight chance of excessive rainfall there, it looks like, and they have some flood warnings around their river. So some of these areas are still areas recovering from Hurricane Laura. It made landfall right here in the town of Cameron. And the bigger town, Lake Charles, was one of the most hard hit, Port Arthur, and even Beaumont. So they're expecting a tornado watch. Their tornado watch. They do have some of these areas do have an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms. There's a low chance of hail. There's a medium chance of damaging winds, but their main concern here right now is tornadoes. Then there's the lightning and flooding concerns. But mainly their concern is tornadoes, because those are pretty likely that we could have some isolated tornadoes, or maybe not even isolated, because it looks like this area hasn't quite been hit yet. It looks like the line might still be over here. I don't know. Let's look at the radar. Okay. So yeah, these areas are about to be hit pretty hard by this line of, it looks like it's going to be this line of storms here over Lake Charles. So it looks like it is starting to hit these areas. Maybe it's just not hitting them quite yet. But this is the main system that's going to be affecting everything from Texas to Illinois to Pennsylvania to Maine. This big mass over in Texas. It just doesn't differentiate between rain or snow. So there's a lot of snow and ice in the Texas, Oklahoma, even in the Missouri and Arkansas section of this. Because ice is going to be a big thing in this storm. But I'd say that's going to be the end of the video. Be sure, if you want to get more information nationwide, check out just the last video I did. Upcoming major New Year winter storm update. So that's going to be the end.